Jealousy ignites like a spark, but when it finds refuge in the wrong heart, becomes an unforgiving blaze. Today, we explore 10 haunting true tales where love soured and jealousy spiraled into cold-blooded murder. This is Tales on Edge. 1. The Facebook Love Triangle. Janelle Potter, Tennessee, USA. In a tranquil rural setting, the lives of a girl, her parents, and a double homicide intertwine, driven by online jealousy. Narration. Janelle Potter wasn't your typical young lady. At 30 years old, she resided a solitary life with her parents in Mountain City, Tennessee. With few friends, an anxious family, and a profound sense of paranoia, she felt as though everyone was against her. And the cruelty. She thought she had found love. Her fixation was a young man named Jamie Curd. Shy and introverted, Jamie worked at the same IT company as Janelle's father. He wasn't a Hollywood heartthrob, but to Janelle, he embodied everything. Jamie reciprocated her feelings, kind of. Their relationship unfolded largely through Facebook messages and emails, leaving face-to-face meetings infrequent. But trouble was afoot. A genuine issue rested between them. Jamie was romantically linked to another woman, a bright and warm-hearted young nurse named Billie Jean Hayworth. Strong, social, and nothing like Janelle, Billie Jean became the target of Janelle's jealousy. Janelle became certain that Billie Jean mocked her, plotted against her, and bullied her online. Yet in truth, Billie Jean had hardly spoken to her. Jealousy, however, disregards reality, feasting instead on distorted perceptions. The situation worsened. Billie Jean had a child with Jamie, a baby boy whose existence was a vivid reminder of their bond. For Janelle, this connection became intolerable. She began posting alarming content on Facebook. Vague threats, unfounded accusations, declarations of feeling watched and targeted. Turning to her protective parents, Marvin and Barbara Potter, she complained of harassment by Billie Jean and her friend Billy Payne. Nevertheless, true evidence was absent. Yet Janelle's parents swallowed her tale whole. Then, the narrative took a dark turn. One chilling January morning in 2012, police answered a call at Billie Jean and Billy Payne's address. What they uncovered chilled them to the bone. Billy had been shot point-blank in the face while in bed. Billie Jean met a similar fate, shot in the face while holding their 7-month-old son. Miraculously, the baby remained unharmed. Initially, suspects evaded capture, yet whispers began to circulate. The Potter family appeared unusual. Particularly Marvin, Janelle's father, a claimed former CIA operative. Upon raiding the Potter household, investigators stumbled upon something unsettling. An extensive array of printed emails. Hundreds of pages. They contained messages from a supposed Chris, a CIA agent assigned to watch over Janelle. This Chris instructed Marvin to protect his daughter, even if it meant eliminating threats. Unfortunately for them, a horrifying truth unfurled. The emails had been fabricated. Chris was a figment. Janelle had created the account, constructing fake CIA messages to manipulate her father into believing he needed to kill for her. It worked. Convinced he was safeguarding his daughter from perilous enemies, Marvin turned cold-blooded and murdered Billie Jean and Billy. But Marvin wasn't alone in this grim act. Jamie Curd, Janelle's volatile love interest, played a crucial role. He assisted Marvin in gaining access to the house, believing Janelle's claims about Billie Jean ruining her life. All three faced arrest. During the trial, Janelle sobbed, insisting her hands were clean. Yet the evidence loomed large. The fake emails, the manipulation, and an intricate web of lies. She was sentenced to 2 life terms for masterminding the murders. Marvin and Jamie also received life sentences. What lingers hauntingly? Janelle never fired a shot, but her jealousy sparked a fire that turned 2 innocent lives to ashes. A connection born on Facebook, a dreamlike romance, and 2 lives extinguished because one woman couldn't bear the sting of rejection. This was merely the beginning. Next, a jealous girlfriend locks her partner in a suitcase and witnesses his tragic end. 2. The Suitcase Murder. Sarah Boone, Florida, USA. An enigmatic couple with a shadowy past. A game gone horribly wrong, or is it cold-blooded vengeance? Narration. Sarah Boone saw herself as a perpetual victim of misfortune, heartbreak, and love that inflicted more pain than comfort. Yet when she zipped up the suitcase, a boundary was crossed that she could never return from. February 2020 in Winter Park, Florida appeared deceptively normal. Sarah and her longtime partner, Jorge Torres Jr., spent the day drinking, laughing, and engaging in games. Or so her story went. To outsiders, they were simply another couple striving for a bright future. Yet lurking within their home, a tempest brewed. Quietude only marked the calm before the storm. Sarah and Jorge shared a tumultuous history. Police had frequently visited their home due to domestic disputes. Both had been accused of violence at various times and had once obtained restraining orders. Still, they always gravitated back to one another, as if drawn by a dark force beyond mere affection. That evening, fueled by drinks, Sarah proposed a seemingly innocent game of hide-and-seek. At a point during this misguided escapade, she instructed Jorge to climb into a suitcase. Yes, a full-grown man squeezed into a suitcase. He complied, perhaps finding humor in it, perhaps trusting her too much. She zipped it shut, locked it tight. Then she commenced filming. 2 brief videos captured on her phone would later serve as damning evidence. In the first video, Jorge gasped for air. "Sarah," he begged, "I can't breathe, please." Her response? Cold and almost playful. "That's how you make me feel when you choke me. That's how it feels." And she walked away. In the second clip, Jorge's voice grew weaker, his urgency palpable. The suitcase shifted slightly as he struggled to escape. Sarah? She deemed this a moment of payback before leaving the room. He never emerged. The following morning, Sarah dialed 911, claiming they had been playing, consuming drinks, and that she had collapsed, only to discover him unresponsive in the suitcase hours later. Her tone portrayed shock, distress. However, upon their arrival, police sensed inconsistencies in her narrative. Each retelling shifted. She fell asleep. Then she passed out, then claimed he was out of the suitcase. Yet the videos spoke a different truth, and it painted a picture of a deliberate act. Sarah Boone was charged with second-degree murder. Trials faced repeated delays, but the evidence stared back unfaltering. The videos showcased her cruelty alongside the myriad signs of violence, the reciprocated restraining orders, and repressed alarms ignored. Some claimed it was drunken vengeance, while others found premeditation within. Regardless, one truth remained. Sarah coldly observed as the man who once adored her suffocated to negate her perceived injuries right next door. Outro. Segment ending. Jealousy doesn't always erupt spontaneously. Sometimes it simmers. It festers. Until it finds the cruelest outlet for vengeance. Sarah Boone made Jorge pay in his final moments. Next, we reveal a teenage love triangle in Britain that morphed into daylight danger. 3. Teenage betrayal. The murder of Shackleton Townsend. London, England. A 16-year-old boy embroiled in love, a girl straddling both sides, and a gang that responded to jealousy with bloodshed. Narration. He was gentle in spirit, sweet. A boy who gifted flowers on first dates and penned long, heartfelt messages by night. Shackleton Townsend, just 16 years old, believed in love wholeheartedly, a belief that would cost him dearly. His story began with Samantha Joseph, a captivating girl, bold, alluring, and possessing that magnetic flair that ensnared young men. Shackleton fell hard. He sent her affectionate texts, shared with friends that she was the one. He thought she was extraordinary, yet Samantha harbored a secret. She remained in love with another, Danny McLean, a violent and controlling 18-year-old affiliated with a local gang, a young man unaccustomed to being replaced. When Danny discovered Shackleton's, rage consumed him, but vengefulness truly gripped him. Meanwhile, Samantha? Instead of standing beside Shackleton, she chose to conspire against him. Was it fear, manipulation, or twisted loyalty? She devised a plan with Danny. She would set Shackleton up, bait him into a deadly trap, and he'd never suspect a thing. The trap. On July 3, 2008, Samantha beckoned Shackleton to meet her. He arrived, gleeful, clutching a teddy bear, dressed in his finest clothes, grinning, blissfully unaware of his fate. She took his hand, guiding him through the quiet streets of South London, into a secluded alley, then down an empty stairwell. In that moment, it felt peaceful. Then chaos erupted. The gang unleashed. A group of boys clad in hoodies emerged, led by Danny, armed with bats, knives, and raw hatred. Shackleton made a run for it. His screams echoed, but the onslaught was swift. He fell victim to punches, savage bat strikes, and 6 piercing stabs. As he lay bleeding, the gang vanished into the night. But the most heart-wrenching part? Samantha stood watch. She observed. She walked away with them. The aftermath. A passerby discovered Shekalis, barely clinging to life. He detailed to paramedics the horrifying truth. Trust betrayed. He uttered, "She set me up." He succumbed hours later in a hospital bed. Shockwaves rippled through the nation. A sweet teenager lured into oblivion by the girl he loved. An execution for simply engendering jealousy. During the trial, evidence emerged illustrating Samantha's consistent communication with Danny. Their calculated plot weaving through every detail. Tears streamed in court. She implored that she had never wished such an end. However, the jury remained unmoved. Samantha received a sentence of at least 10 years. Danny was sentenced to a potential 15 years to life. The teddy bear Shekalis had brought her lay stained with his blood, a haunting reminder of an innocent life extinguished. Outro, segment ending. He simply craved love, presented her with a gift. She reciprocated with death. Teenage jealousy transforms into an unrecognizable monster when fidelity morphs into murder. Next, a tale from Mexico unfolds, depicting a woman who poisoned her romantic rival with a surgeon's ruthless precision. 4. The Poisoned Bride. Dr. Ana Maria Lagunas. Guadalajara, Mexico. A distinguished plastic surgeon, a beautiful bride-to-be, and a jealous ex who weaponized her medical expertise. Narration. To her peers, Dr. Ana Maria Lagunas shone as brilliant and charismatic. One of Guadalajara's most promising cosmetic surgeons, she possessed wealth, clients, fame, a long list of admirers. Yet one woman sought what Ana Maria believed was rightfully hers. Her ex-fiancé. The backstory. Just a year before the tragic events, Ana had been engaged to Alejandro Flores, a thriving entrepreneur. Their relationship oscillated between public displays of affection and private conflict. Upon their breakup, Ana took it to heart, very deeply. So, when Alejandro found love once more, with 27-year-old Julieta Vasquez, and soon announced their engagement, Ana snapped. Julieta was more than beautiful. She radiated warmth, dubbed the sunshine in any room. Ana had another term for her, thief. Friends noted Ana's transformation. Her once glamorous smile surrendered to tension. Conversations morphed into passive-aggressive exchanges. She became fixated on Julieta, monitoring her on social media, copying every detail. Finally, a plot began to brew. The murder. Julieta longed to radiate joy on her wedding day. Just weeks before the ceremony, she scheduled a minor cosmetic procedure, a facial filler. Ana offered to perform it gratis, claiming it a gesture of making amends. Julieta, unsuspecting, agreed. The appointment transpired in Ana's private clinic. Cameras turned off. Staff absent. Only the two women occupied the intimate space. Ana welcomed her with wine, cordial, professional. Yet beneath that exterior, Ana readied an execution. During the procedure, she injected Julieta with a rare neurotoxin, unapproved for human use, crafting havoc in Julieta's nervous system. Initially, it appeared a misstep, but soon her pulse plummeted. Breathing stalled. Vision darkened. She collapsed that night within her home, never to awaken again. The investigation. Baffled doctors assessed the situation. Healthy, vibrant brides don't succumb overnight. Julieta's family demanded answers. An autopsy unveiled chemical anomalies absent from typical cosmetic procedures. Police scrutinized Ana Maria's clinic. Despite clear records, anonymous tips flooded in. Messages, screenshots, DMs from mutual acquaintances, angry directives Ana had dispatched. One read, "If I can't have him, neither will she." Her search history? Overflowing with poison varieties. Methods of injection. Formulated dosages. The decisive blow? Surveillance footage of Ana procuring the banned substance weeks in advance. She was apprehended, charged with first-degree murder. Aftermath. In court, Ana wore a mask of indifference. No emotion, no apologies. Julieta's heartbroken parents displayed her wedding dress, pristine, never adorned. A stark representation of a future stolen by pride and festering romantic wounds. Ana Maria received a 40-year prison sentence. Outro, segment ending. She possessed the means to heal but wielded them to kill. Jealousy combined with ego can morph even a caregiver into a silent assassin. Now let's venture back to Britain, where a romantic escape turned into roadside slaughter. 5. The Roadside Lie. Tracy Andrews and the Murder of Lee Harvey. West Midlands, England. An intimate drive. A roadside quarrel. A woman who murdered her fiancé, then pointed the blame at a stranger. Narration. At first, it sounded like the plot of a horror flick. A couple assaulted by a crazed driver on a dimly lit country road. A man slain. A woman left weeping beneath distant headlights. Yet the true horror lurked not in her narrative. It lay in her actions. The couple. Tracy Andrews and Lee Harvey weren't exactly a classic fairy tale. Their year together was marked by intensity, jealousy, turbulence. Friends often labeled Tracy as temperamentally volatile. She didn't appreciate Lee's interactions with other women, temporary separations, or even a smile aimed at strangers. Lee, quiet and kind, was a handsome 25-year-old desiring peace. However, tranquility was never a part of Tracy's nature. Endless arguments ensued, followed by breakups and reconciliations until she finally moved in. Yet the conflicts persisted. Lee held firm in hope, believing love would mend it. But love couldn't. The murder. On December 1st, 1996, Tracy and Lee dined together. They argued once more, over jealousy and control. Throughout the drive home, tensions amplified. According to Tracy, a road rage driver tailed them, a man in a Ford Sierra aggressively forcing them off the road. She claimed Lee confronted him, adding that the man unleashed a stabbing frenzy before racing away. She screamed, pleading for assistance. Police arrived. Lee lay dead. Over 40 stab wounds marked his body. Tracy, in shock and trembling, covered in blood, recounted the tragic narrative to authorities. A day later, at a press conference, she depicted the murderer who got away. British headlines labeled it a random tragic killing. Yet detectives remained skeptical. The truth unravels. Tracy's twisted storyline unraveled quickly. The positioning of the stab wounds raised questions. The absence of tire marks. No witnesses to the alleged maniac driver. Then came revelations regarding her injuries. Mysteriously, they appeared shallow. Could they have been self-inflicted? Forensic evidence began accumulating. Lee's blood splattered on her garments, patterns contested by her version of events. The timeline failed to align. Meanwhile, her emotional responses resonated as rehearsed. Then a witness stepped forward. Someone had observed the car, noting the absence of another vehicle, just shouting, with Tracy animatedly waving her arms. Police confronted her. In the end, she cracked. Confession and verdict. Tracy eventually admitted no stranger existed. No road rage. No deranged assailant. Only her. In a fit of rage within the vehicle, she wielded a penknife and stabbed Lee 42 times, propelled by jealousy and fury. His solitary crime? Attempting to quench the argument. She disposed of the knife, conjured a story, cried for the cameras, and deceived the world. In 1997, she was condemned to life imprisonment for murder. She served 14 years before her release, concealed beneath a new identity. A woman who murdered the man she professed to love, then claimed a feigned innocence. Outro. Segment ending. Some killers hide behind masks. Others showcase their sorrow through tears. Tracy Andrews smiled before the media even as her lies bled through. Coming up is the most notorious tale of obsessive love in American crime. The ruthless murder of Travis Alexander by his envious ex-girlfriend. 6. Obsession, lies, and the shower murder. Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander. Mesa, Arizona, USA. A failed romance. A desperate ex. And a murder so appalling it rocked the nation. Narration. This was a crime steeped in blood, deceit, and jealousy. A man discovered lifeless in his shower, throat slashed, multiple stab wounds, alongside a gunshot to his head. At the heart of this is a woman professing love, a woman who simply couldn't let him go. This is the tale of Jodi Arias, and the man she couldn't endure to live without, or let continue living without her. The relationship. Meet Travis Alexander, a 30-year-old motivational speaker and devoted Mormon. Charismatic, driven, and widely respected across both church and professional landscapes. Enter Jodi. They crossed paths at a conference in 2006. She exuded beauty, confidence. Enchantingly magnetic, they clicked immediately. Yet from the outset, discomfort lingered in the atmosphere. Even as Travis embraced his faith, Jody adapted, reshaping herself into his ideal, converting to Mormonism, attending church by his side, flashing smiles for captivating snapshots, all while sending him explicit texts and stealthily entering his life under the cover of night. Their relationship rolled out like a wild ride, a mix of passion, clashes, separations, and clandestine meetings. Travis sought to move forward. Jody did not. The obsession. Friends soon noted Jody's uninvited appearances. She broke into his email account. Once, she even slashed his tires. Travis shared his fears with close friends, labeling her behavior as devilish in anger, claiming she wouldn't let go. Then came June 4th, 2008. Travis failed to show for a scheduled conference. Silence reigned. No calls, no emails. After 5 agonizing days, friends erupted into his home. They discovered him lifeless in the shower, stabbed 27 times. His throat slashed. Shot in the head. It was a gruesome display of overkill, intensely personal, and horrifically jarring. The investigation. Jody told authorities she hadn't seen him in weeks. Her tears flowed, insisting they remained friends. She spoke of heartbreak, declaring her innocence. But investigation led the police to a personal camera. Though damaged, it wasn't completely destroyed. They retrieved the memory card. What they unearthed was shocking. A timeline of Travis's final day. 1:45 p.m. Images of Jody and Travis in bed. 5:22 p.m. Travis showering, playfully posing. 5:30 p.m. A blurry image of him seated. 5:32 p.m. A photo capturing his lifeless body on the floor. She had been there. She captured the moments, then attempted to erase them. Game over. The trial. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation. Live-streamed, captivating viewers in the millions. Jody became a chameleon, changing her narrative thrice. First, I wasn't there. Then, masked intruders did it. Finally, I killed him. In self-defense. Claiming abuse. Control. Rife with fear for her life. But the evidence contradicted her tale. Forensic blood patterns. Her palm print amid his crimson pool. Photos, voice messages, an unnerving calm. The jury wasn't convinced. In 2013, Jody Arias faced a conviction for first-degree murder. Life imprisonment awaited her, devoid of parole. Aftermath. For years, her face graced media, often smirking, posing within the courtroom, casting herself as the victim. Yet behind the glossy headlines lay a man brutally murdered by someone he trusted. Her jealousy? Silent. Strategic. Until it erupted like a scream trapped within the confines of a tiled shower stall. Outro. Segment ending. She claimed she couldn't survive without him, and ensured he would not live without her. But the price of obsession? A life sentence stitched with a fabric of deceit. Up next is a TikTok triangle steeped in delusion and a young girl who tragically killed her own sister. 7. The TikTok murder. Claire Miller and the sister. She killed. Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, USA. A suburban household, a teenage girl. A crime leaving even experienced officers shaken. Narration. She danced on TikTok, mimicked Billie Eilish, laughing in her room. And mere hours later, she summoned 911 with words that sent shockwaves throughout America. I stabbed my sister. This is the unsettling tale of Claire Miller, a 14-year-old girl whose jealousy and unraveling mental state ushered in one of the most startling family murders in recent memory. The family. Claire inhabited what many might presume to be a conventional existence. She came from a comforting neighborhood, middle-class folks, and caring parents. But within her home, quietude seldom prevailed. Her older sister, Helen, endured deep disabilities. Nonverbal, wheelchair-bound, reliant on constant care, Claire often felt neglected, overshadowed, burdened. While most adolescents internalized their distress, Claire did not. Behind the projected smiles on social media, behind the trendy filters, a creeping darkness intensified. The night of the murder. It was approximately 1:00 a.m. on February 22, 2021. As her parents slumbered, Claire stealthily entered Helen's room, a kitchen knife within her grip. Her sister lay asleep, tranquil. Claire suffocated her with a pillow, then plunged the knife into Helen's neck again and again. She draped Helen's body with a blanket, then stepped outside into the snow. Dialing 911, her tone was steady, shaky yet eerily detached. "I killed my sister." When authorities arrived, Claire stood, blood-soaked, crimson hands, with melting snow beneath her dissolving from her warmth. Officers recoiled in horror. Some claimed it the worst scene they'd ever witnessed. Inside, Helen lay lifeless within her bed, the knife ominously resting by her side. The motive? Claire faced arrest as an adult. At just 14, she confronted the possibility of life behind bars. But a deeper inquiry emerged. Why? Her online footprint revealed unsettling doodles, memes on death and blood, twisted fantasies concerning violence. But a recurring theme echoed: jealousy. Claire frequently posted on Discord and Reddit about feeling invisible, about yearning for freedom. Some messages joked about how effortless it would be to murder a sibling and slip away unnoticed. She didn't despise Helen, yet she envied her, jealous towards the attention, the care, the ceaseless prioritization her parents extended towards her sister. Psychiatrists debated over whether Claire battled severe mental illness, schizophrenia, deep-seated depression, or something more sinister. Yet the law prioritized facts, the outcome. In 2022, Claire Miller pleaded guilty but mentally ill to a first-degree murder charge. Life imprisonment awaited her, alongside the chance for psychiatric guidance. But no amount of therapy could unwind the irreversible deed. A family shattered, a sister stolen from a life meant for protection, and a community grappling with the haunting question: how could a teenage girl plunge so deeply into darkness? Outro. Segment ending. Sometimes the harshest jealousy flourishes where love ought to flourish. Claire smiled for social media, yet concealed a monster behind the lens. Next, delve into a forbidden romance intertwining teacher and student, marked by jealousy, leaving the nation in disbelief. 8. Till Death Do Us Kill. Raymond and Faye Copeland. Missouri, USA. An aging couple. A deadly scam. A sinister partnership forged through control, greed, and jealousy. Narration. They were in the twilight of their 70s. He donned overalls while she wore glasses, living on a serene farm surrounded by cows, corn, and hidden secrets. Together, Raymond and Faye Copeland etched their names in history as the oldest couple ever sentenced to death in the United States. Their crime? Cold-blooded murder. Their motive? Control, greed, and a possessive brand of jealousy that turned a marriage into a campaign for slaughter. The perfect cover. To acquaintances, the Copelands came off as just another cantankerous farming couple residing in rural Missouri. Raymond exuded a gruff, no-nonsense air. Faye portrayed the quiet, obedient spouse, eternally supporting her husband. Yet behind closed doors, their relationship was veiled in complexity. Raymond possessed a controlling, volatile spirit. Decades spent cycling through prison for fraud and theft. He trusted no one, save for Faye. Faye? She faithfully trailed him, not out of fear, but perhaps a darker yearning. When Raymond devised a scheme to murder drifters, Faye opted not to impede his plans. She became an accomplice. The Copelands enticed transient men, primarily homeless drifters, with the allure of farm work. They would sign their names over to Raymond, allowing him to cash bad checks for cattle. Raymond obtained the livestock. The banks encountered fraud. And the drifters? They received a bullet to the back of their heads. One by one, they stepped into the trap. Raymond transported them to a distant barn, executed, then buried underground on the farm. But he never acted alone. Faye prepared meals, cleansed the evidence. She meticulously documented details in a morbid ledger listing each victim by name, marking an X beside those who had been dealt with. It was chilling, clinical, transforming murder into meticulous bookkeeping. The jealousy. Raymond's motives echoed financial gain, but Faye's involvement seemed spurred by a deeper-seated desire. Investigators uncovered her resentment towards the attention Raymond lavished on younger workers, the admiration, the energy, the trust he sometimes extended beyond her. Her journal bore entries filled with envious remarks, expressing annoyance at Raymond's softness towards certain men. One witness even recounted Faye's assertion, "They don't need him. I do." Jealousy transmuted her from mere accomplice into a willing partner, supporting the killings, concealing the horrors. The discovery. In 1989, a tip sparked police interest in the Copeland property. Cadaver dogs combed the land. They uncovered 5 Fays. Both faced arrest. Raymond showed no hint of remorse. Yet Faye wept, claiming ignorance. But her notes and tiered loyalty narrated a conflicting tale. The verdict. In 1990, Raymond Copeland earned a death sentence. He succumbed to natural causes on death row in 1993. Faye Copeland also faced the death penalty. Later, public pressure reduced her sentence to life in prison due to her age. She departed in 2003 at 82 years old. Aftermath. Their home disappeared under bulldozers. The barn dismantled. Yet the macabre saga of the Copelands endured, a grim reminder that jealousy doesn't always roar. Occasionally it dons an apron, bakes pies, smirks gracefully, and helps enter bodies within the yard. Outro, segment ending. They killed not from passion, but collaboration. In the world shared by the Copelands, jealousy didn't erode their bond. It defined it. Together they morphed into something terrifying, a couple of killers. You've evolved through 9 tales. Yet jealousy possesses no conclusion. 9, the party killer, Tyler Hadley, and the friend he couldn't keep. Port St. Lucie, Florida, USA. A teenage boy harboring secrets. A party unlike any other. And a friend who unearthed the truth too late. Narration. It was a Saturday night like any other. Teens packed Tyler Hadley's house. Loud music. Red cups. Laughter filled every corner. Yet, unbeknownst to them, a mere hallway away lay the bodies of his slain parents. Under a locked bedroom door. What fueled his actions? An array of intense rage, yet jealousy. The yearning for remembrance. The boy next door. Tyler Hadley was merely 17. Quiet, awkward. He seldom stood out in school. Yet he yearned for it. Particularly regarding his best friend, Michael Mandel. Michael outshone with charm, loved by all. And Tyler marinated in resentment for being second best, especially concerning attention, popularity, and girls. Tyler spiraled downwards. He fell into substance abuse, crafting peculiar angry online posts. He began divulging plans for a party. A gigantic bash at his place. 0 parental supervision. Nobody believed him. The murder. On the morning of July 16, 2011, Tyler waited patiently for his parents, Blake and Mary Jo Hadley, to unwind at home. He retrieved a hammer from the garage, nonchalantly walked into the living room. In a brutal, sudden attack, he bludgeoned his mother from behind. He awaited his father's return to deal him a similar fate, dragging their corpses into the master bedroom. He obscured them beneath towels, books, and debris, anything to mask the atrocity. Then, he tidied up, posted on Facebook, "Party at my place tonight." Dozens responded. The party, they drank and danced, curious about the scent wafted through corners. The locked room piqued suspicions, but Tyler laughed it off, claiming his parents were away in Orlando, advising them the door remained off-limits. Yet Tyler couldn't resist temptation. In a tranquil moment, he pulled Michael aside and laid it all bare, confessing he had killed them, that the bodies lay unmoving in the bedroom, that the party symbolized his celebration. Michael at first dismissed it, until Tyler revealed a bloody footprint. A moment of horror encompassed him. Yet Michael remained collected, composed, refusing to flee or scream. The next morning, he alerted the police. The arrest. Tyler was apprehended hours later. Within his room, law enforcement uncovered blood-stained clothes, cleaning supplies, and unsettling search history, including how to get away with murder, what chemicals dissolve human flesh, do parents hold you back from success? He confessed all. His underlying motive? A longing to host a party. But on a deeper level, he craved focus, to mean something, to eclipse Michael, to etch his legacy. Aftermath. Tyler Hadley stood convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder. Destined for life behind bars with no chance of parole, Michael never fully healed. He lost his best friend and came to terms with a harrowing truth. Jealousy can lurk behind the warmest smiles. Outro, segment ending. Some throw parties to jubilant life. Tyler orchestrated one to blanket death. Jealousy contorted his belief that murder would render him unique. Ultimately, all it earned him was a prison cell. One tale remains. A couple entwined by blood and crime, where jealousy didn't diverge them but bound them in murderous symphony. Outro. Tales on edge. 10 times jealousy led to murder. Final narration. Jealousy. It's as ancient as time and deadlier than most tools. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it merely whispers, within the mind of a vexed teenage girl, inside a heart of a betrayed lover, in the silence of a long, cold marriage. You have witnessed 10 chilling narratives, each tale distinct yet woven with a venomous thread. And a girl orchestrating fake CIA emails to eliminate her competition. As a woman locking her partner in a suitcase, passively observing his fate. A teen lured to death by the girl he loved. A physician wielding her hands not for healing but for murder. A lover who wept for media while delivering 42 fatal stabs to her fiancé. A woman executing a plan with a gun, a knife, and a camera to destroy a man who chose to leave. A girl extinguishing her disabled sister's light, silencing her forever. A teacher mistook obsession for love, with deeply shocking outcomes. A boy taking his parents' lives to unveil a party, yearning for recognition. An elder couple demonstrating that age bears no limit for lethal jealousy. Closing thought. Jealousy isn't an offense, but what it ignites often is. So the next time you feel it bubbling within, remember these tales. And pose yourself a single query. Where does the line end and the edge commence? Call to action, following the essence of Tales on Edge. If you found this story racing your pulse, if thoughts still spiral within, do not remain silent. Share your reflections. Reveal which story stunned you the most. Subscribe, next we'll dive deeper, and spread this video so others too can understand. Sometimes love shines the most dangerous light.